Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the African Comic Guy, and today we're about to talk about Zack Snyder, but not in the sense that we've talked about him before, his impact and everything. But we're about to talk about, there's so many things going on in the world of movies, in the world of comic-based movies, right? And this man has come under so much scrutiny, right? And good and bad, right? But it's been crazy how people never necessarily understand where this man comes from. The passion that he has for the movies he makes, the passion that he has for comic adapted movies, right? This man is a super fan when it comes to comic books. And for him to take them from a comic book, like a graphic novel, I mean, when you watch his movies, they're like graphic novels come alive. And when he does that, if you watch Watchmen, you watch 300, and you're like, if you get the graphic novels, it almost feels like Nightmare. What was it? Was that movie that had Ben Stiller in the museum, right, where all these animals came alive at night? That's how it feels when you watch his movies. And it's been interesting because of how he's been attacked by some people because of his fans. A lot of people attack his fans because they feel like his fans are more fanatics, right, than actual fans. But they are. I mean, so many things have happened from Ray Fisher being, obviously having that really public craziness with Warner Brothers, especially talking about what happened when Josh Whedon directed, right, and everything that he went at, to recently Ray Porter, who portrayed Justice League. He's actually the voice of Darkseid, right? And him coming to the defense of not only Zack Snyder's Justice League, but also basically using his voice as another fan, another fan that actually wants to see this Zack Snyder's Justice League continue. And because of that, he's got death threats, which is ridiculous, because you know what I mean? And I love the fact that Zack Snyder recently sat down with GQ and talked about not only some of his movies that he's done, but also the fact that he talked about his DC arc, right? And it's the one thing that we haven't really got, and I think most fans never really understood where he wanted the DCEU to go. And I love the fact that he took time and in detail to really break down exactly what his vision was for the DCEU, exactly what his vision was for Superman, because a lot of people attacked him because they didn't necessarily like the way he portrayed Superman, even though we absolutely loved it. And he still kept it comic book accurate. You know what I mean? The fact that you saw Batman in his rawest form. My favorite Batman is Ben Affleck's version of Batman. I love the fact when people are attacking because Superman has killed. The fact that he died, right, fighting Batman when they actually ended up fighting Doomsday. Superman dies fighting Doomsday. It is known. It is canon, right? So he's been able to follow through that, then all the way to Justice League in the story. And he talked about what his vision was. And I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to share a snippet of what he talked about and also link this interview, because if you're a fan not only of Zack Snyder himself, but also comic-based movies, I really believe you need to watch this. You need to listen to him articulate and basically tell you exactly what his vision was, where his mind was, where he was taking the DCEU, and why I believe that Warner Brothers and DC would have basically cleaned house financially at the box office had they just allowed this man to do what he wanted to do. Because let me tell you, I had an idea, and he's talked about what he planned on doing with the DCEU, with Justice League. But listening to him now and really break it down with zero pressure, he's really in appreciation of what he's been able to do. But at the same time, knowing that he would love the opportunity to finish his masterpiece. So anyway, I'm just going to show a really short snippet of what he talked about, but also share a link, because I really want you guys to go into this link, go see his interview with GQ, because I really believe from this interview, you really get an idea of who this man is, why he loves what he loves, why as fans we love this man's content and everything he puts out, not just because we are rabid fans. We are actual fans of what he does because we know he takes the time to give us exactly what we want. So watch this. Go watch the entirety of this interview. I really believe you'll appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next African Comic Guy. Peace.
Justice League.
She begged me with her last breath that when I killed you, and make no mistake, I will fucking kill you, that I do it slow. I'm gonna honor that promise.
I was endeavoring to meet the studio mandate of, getting the movie down to 2 hours, but I always had my director's cut as like the thing that I knew was the actual movie. I lost my daughter to suicide during that time, and I really did try and stick it out as best I could, but in the end, my family and everything that was going on was too much, and we stepped away from the movie. When we stepped away from the movie, it was my impression that the movie was close to being finished. Famously, I've never seen the version of Justice League that was created in my absence. Only suffice it to say that when my wife and Chris saw the movie, they told me never to watch it, and that it kind of is what it is. Once the movie came out, there was a bit of a drumbeat among my fans that this is not the movie, right? There's something's funky. Once I left the movie, I really had no contact with them, to say good or bad. I just said nothing. So the fans were like, well, there has to be a Snyder cut. There has to be a version of the movie that we're not seeing. And look, the truth is that the fans themselves are the ones that were responsible with the intense groundswell that caused the studio. Now, there was a few factors that happened that made the movie real, and those were that I'd gotten a call from the studio when I think the pressure from the fans was at its highest point, was like, what would it take to do a director's cut of Justice League? At the time, I think they had said, look, we'll release the movie as is, in its raw form, in its rough cut form, the form that I kind of had it. And I was like, yeah, I don't really have interest in that. Like, that's like, what? Like, what's good about that? Like, no one wants to see that. I said, would you mind if I came to Warner Brothers and told you what it would really take and what the potential of it could be?
He's back.
I mean, it's birth, death, and resurrection really is what the first three movies are, In the end, they're Superman stories. I think that people get sidetracked by Batman a little bit. The idea that we killed Superman was because I needed to resurrect him. I needed him to sacrifice one more thing for humanity, and that was himself.